Hey, what's up, everybody? Uh, had a wonderful week out in the Colorado mountains. It was pretty awesome. I wish I was a little closer to Socrates, but next time, buddy, we'll get together. Uh, it was a win-win situation. The markets didn't do too much away from what the charts were showing before I left, so that's kind of a win-win. When I get back, all the charts were looking pretty good, so that helped out. So I didn't have to do a whole lot of analysis when I got back, but it was nice to get away for a little bit. But I missed charting because that's what I love to do. So I wanted to pull up a weekly chart for Bitcoin and show you a couple things I'm seeing. So I hope you get something out of this. And if you like this, if you like what I do here on charts and everything, hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends, retweet, whatever. It would definitely help us out, help me out, because I like teaching people and learning about markets. So get the word out. If you like what you see and if you learn anything. And again, I'm at FiboSwanny out on Twitter. DM me, message me anything about technical analysis. I'm willing to answer any questions so you can help out there. So let's get on to the chart. Enough of that chatter. All right. Let's look at the weekly chart here. Couple of things I got on here. All the blue lines are all different trend lines. The orange line is the 55 exponential moving average. I got the ADX here, which is the black line. The green line is the positive directional index. The red line is the negative directional index. And down here, this orange line is the RSI. And then, of course, I got a bullish zone and a bearish zone, and I'll go into explain that here in a second. What I like that I'm seeing is that, for one, the RSI is remaining in a bullish zone. And when I talk about that, let's kind of go back in history and kind of look to see what those zones kind of mean. If you go back in all the way back into 2015, we were in this kind of this bearish move here, or the trend line was to the downside, so the bears were in control. So as you can see, the RSI was trading underneath this line that I have as a support level of the bullish zone, but it's the resistance level of the bearish zone. So as this came up right at this point right here, you can see it kind of tested the trend line, and then it worked its way to this point right here where it bumped above this line and moved into what I call the bullish zone, and it's all this area right in here um, that I call the bullish zone. So what was happening at this point in time? For one, the market was going up above the trend line. So you're breaking the trend line at this point. The ADX was starting to increase and the bulls were starting to get in control based on the positive directional index. So what happens is it pops up, it comes back down to where this trend line is now resistance. And as you can see, the RSI did not drop back down into the bearish zone. And then with the momentum with the bulls, this all together, this signals that the bulls are in control. So this is a buy order in here to follow the trend, kind of the broad market. So as you can see, this blue trend line here, nice little bull run as we go here. So as you can see, the RSI trades here, and every time it's testing this trend line, it tests this support level on the RSI. And this whole time, the green positive directional index is elevated above the red, and then the ADX is elevated also. Now it did tangle up in here a little bit, as it was trying to test this area in here, but it got into a little bit of an area consolidation as the ADX was dropping a little bit lower here. But the RSI never dropped into the bearish zone, so the bulls were still in control. So as you can see, moved up here, and then you got into this trend line here, which is even just a more major move. And of course, the RSI is still in that zone, and the ADX is still kicking butt for the bulls here. Another thing to watch is the 55 exponential moving average, which was a nice support level, and then it comes to this point where it broke down into this area right in here, and this is where the bears started to take over a little bit. Momentum was really low, so you got a little bit more of a sideways market in here. But what was happening at this point? I drew these vertical lines in here to show you at the point of the break of the trend line. So right at this point, it was breaking to the downside, and as you can see, the RSI busted from the bullish zone into the bearish zone. So that's our first signal that the bears might be taking over control of trend. And negative directional index, it wasn't until a little bit later that we saw it to start to elevate a little bit right in here, and then the ADX, but it didn't really have a lot of momentum. So what happened is it broke this trend line, came back up and tested it again as resistance, and then as this was happening, the RSI was not breaking back up into the bullish zone. So what is this is telling us is that the market's turning into a little bit more of a broad bearish look. And that's what's kind of happened here. So you got this trend line here where every time it was tested in here, it was kind of testing the resistance line that I have here on the RSI line. So the 55 exponential moving average right here, it kind of worked in here. You can't see it in here because it kind of matched the trend line, and then it worked to this point right here where it busted back above the 55 exponential moving average, which is a bullish signal, and also it broke a trend line, popped up, went a little bit sideways here, but as you can see, it broke back up out of this bearish zone and into the bullish zone. So that's one thing I really like the RSI for, when you're looking at it long term, is to know where's these inflection points of the market. And at this point, it broke the trend line, came back and tested it again. As you can see, the RSI just came down and tested, but held that support and kept it in the bullish zone. And then we broke above the trend line, got some more buying interest. And as you can see, the ADX was increasing and got the bulls back in control. So I mean, right now, this blue trend line is kind of the one we're on at the moment, to where that's where the buying interest should be found. Right now we're trading at about 9,300. If this thing dropped down to the trend line, you're probably talking about 8,200 if it dropped down, which would be a buying signal, or a buying area. If this ADX doesn't cross over, or the RSI doesn't drop back down into the bullish zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to buy on dips as we move higher, uh, waiting for those signals, same kind of signals that we saw in the past. A break of a trend line, the ADX is signaling the momentum for the break, and then also does the RSI drop back down into a certain zone. And right now we're really nice in the bullish zone. We got some nice momentum going. We're working our way up this trend line, and I use the Fibonacci level of this high at the 19,000 plus, and then the low at 3,100 or so. The 61.8% level is at 13.4. So to be honest, I think that's where we're headed, before we start to get a really good correction. Of course, I think we're going to see a little bit of a selling resistance at 10K, because everybody's kind of looking at that. So it's kind of like the psychological level, and it's also kind of a technical level because it is a kind of a previous high just off of a little bit move. But I think you'll find a little bit of selling interest at the 10K, and then if it comes back down to that trend line into the 8,000s, I think you'll see some buying interest again. But if it breaks this trend line and the momentum starts to switch to the bears, and we break down into the bearish zone, that's when you stop out of your longs and if you want to go short, that could be a possibility too. It just depends on how strong the momentum is. But all in all, these are kind of uh, just a quick glimpse of how I look at a weekly chart, based on the trend lines, based on the ADX, based on the RSI, even the moving averages. If they're all working together, it makes me really comfortable to stay long the market and to buy on dips. And I'm going to kind of remain doing that. So hope you got something out of this. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Let me know. That's what I'm here for. I love doing this stuff. Again, weekly chart on BTC. Let's see 10K here pretty soon. I think the buying interest is going to be strong enough to push us there. So let's do it, and happy trading. Peace out.